Listen carefully, because what I'm about to tell you will ruin every cheap comfort you've ever leaned on. Most men are addicted to ease, addicted to noise, addicted to the warm little distractions that keep them asleep while their lives quietly rot. They chase pleasure and call it living. But pleasure is a leash, and the world holds it. I'm here to hand you a different addiction, one that builds instead of buries. Become addicted to self-mastery. Become addicted to the man you're capable of becoming. Because the moment discipline stops feeling like punishment and starts feeling like hunger, you become dangerous in the best possible way. Untouchable. Look around you. The undisciplined are everywhere, and they are always at the mercy of someone stronger, sharper, colder. They drift, they react, they beg the world for permission. You will not. You will train your mind until silence feels like power. You will sculpt your body until your presence speaks before your mouth does. You will engineer your habits until your future becomes inevitable, not hopeful. This is not motivation. Motivation is a candle in the wind. This is architecture. This is war waged inside your own skull, every single day, one quietly, one alone. And here is the truth no one whispers to you. The strongest men aren't born ruthless. They become ruthless with themselves first. They demand more, forgive less, and bow to no weakness, especially their own. So before we go deeper, plant your flag. In the comments, type these words: I am building a self they cannot break. Say it. Mean it. Let it be the first brick. Because the man who masters himself fears no one and answers to no one. That transformation starts now. Number 2. Kill the comfortable version of you. There is a version of you that must die. The soft one. The one who hits snooze and calls it rest. The one who scrolls for hours and calls it relaxing. The one who promises to start tomorrow, then never. That version of you is not your friend. He is the enemy wearing your face, and every day you let him live, he steals from the man you were meant to be. Understand this coldly. Comfort is the most expensive thing you will ever buy. It costs you your potential, paid in quiet installments you never notice until it's too late. The world rewards the sharp and forgets the comfortable. So you must become an executioner of your own weakness. Not once, daily, ruthlessly, without ceremony. Most men negotiate with themselves. Just 5 more minutes. Just this once. That negotiation is where greatness goes to die. Strong men don't negotiate with the part of them that wants to quit. They overrule it. They act before the mind invents an excuse, because they know the mind is a coward that will always choose the easy road if you let it vote. Discipline is simply refusing to let the weakest part of you make your decisions. Picture it clearly. Every time you choose the hard thing, the cold shower, the early morning, the workout you don't feel like, the silence instead of the distraction, you are killing the comfortable man and feeding the powerful one. 2 wolves live inside you, and only one eats today. Choose deliberately. Choose like your future depends on it, because it does. And here's the part nobody warns you about. At first, it will feel like loss. You'll mourn the ease. You'll crave the old patterns. Good. That ache is proof the transformation is real. Pain is the toll, and you are finally willing to pay it. The men who intimidate the world are simply the men who stopped flinching from their own discipline. They made friends with difficulty while everyone else ran from it. Now decide, will you keep the comfortable corpse alive, or will you bury him and walk forward as someone new? In the comments, declare it. I am building a self they cannot break. Type it again. Let the world witness your line in the sand. Number 3. Master the mind before you master anything. Everything you will ever build begins in one place, the mind. Master it, and the body follows, the habits follow, the future follows. Lose control of it, and you will be a slave, dressed as a free man, dragged by every fear, every urge, every passing mood. So this is where the real war is fought. In the 6 inches between your ears, in the silence no one else can see. Most people never win it because they never even show up. They let their thoughts run wild like a mob, then wonder why their lives feel like chaos. Begin with this brutal truth. Your mind is not your master, it is your instrument. And right now, for most men, That instrument plays whatever song the world demands. Anger when provoked, fear when challenged, desire when tempted. You react like a puppet, and worse, you call it being yourself. But the self-mastered man interrupts that reaction. He feels the pull and does not obey it. He notices the anger and chooses stillness. He feels the fear and moves anyway. This is the cold power the ancients understood. The man who governs his inner world cannot be governed by anyone else's. Train your focus like a weapon. In a world engineered to shatter your attention into 1,000 pieces, the ability to think deeply, to sit with a single task, to be unbothered by noise, this is rarer than gold and twice as powerful. While the masses drown in distraction, you will be the one who sees clearly, plans quietly, and strikes precisely. Guard your mind like a fortress. Be ruthless about what you let in. Every video, every voice, every conversation is either sharpening you or softening you. There is no neutral. The men who shaped history were obsessive about their inputs because they understood that the mind becomes what it consumes. Feed it strength, and it grows teeth. Feed it garbage, and it grows weak. And learn emotional silence, not the absence of feeling, but the refusal to be ruled by it. Let others read you and find nothing. Let your face stay calm while your mind calculates. The man who reveals everything hands his enemies a map. The man who reveals nothing remains a mystery, and mystery is leverage. People fear what they cannot predict, and they respect what they cannot control. So begin today. Watch your thoughts like a king watches his borders. Discipline the inner world first, and the outer world will have no choice but to bend. In the comments, carve it again. I am building a self they cannot break. Number 4. Forge the body into a weapon. Now we turn to the temple no one can fake. The body. You can lie with your words. You can hide behind a screen. But the body tells the truth about a man before he ever opens his mouth. It announces your discipline or broadcasts your neglect. It shows whether you've been fighting or surrendering. And in a world that judges in seconds, your physical presence is the first argument you make. So make it undeniable. Understand this. The body is not vanity. It is proof. Proof that you can set a hard goal and grind toward it when no one is clapping. Proof that you can suffer voluntarily and come back stronger. Every rep, every mile, every refused excuse is a deposit into a bank account the world can see. When you walk into a room with a forged physique, you've already told everyone you discipline yourself, and people instinctively respect and quietly fear a man who has command over his own flesh. The weak chase comfort. The strong chase resistance, because they know resistance is the only thing that builds. Most men treat their bodies like garbage cans and then wonder why they feel slow, foggy, and weak. They poison themselves with sugar, drown themselves in alcohol, and starve themselves of movement, then blame their genetics, their age, their luck. Stop. Your body is the vehicle that carries every ambition you'll ever have. Sabotage it, and you sabotage everything. Your energy, your focus, your confidence, your will. Feed it like an asset, not an addiction. Train it like it's the foundation of your empire, because it is. There is a deeper power here, one the ancient warriors knew. When you train your body hard, you are also training your mind to endure. The discipline bleeds across. The man who can push through the final brutal set when his muscles scream for mercy is building the exact same mental steel he'll use in every other arena of his life. Pain in the gym becomes patience in negotiation. Exhaustion conquered at dawn becomes composure under pressure at noon. The body is simply the training ground where you teach your will to win. And there is something the world doesn't want you to know. Physical strength changes how you carry yourself, and how you carry yourself changes how the world treats you. Stand taller, and people speak to you differently. Move with controlled power, and people hesitate to test you. You stop shrinking. You stop apologizing for taking up space. You become a man who is comfortable being looked at, because there is nothing to hide and nothing to fear. Confidence stops being an act and becomes a residue of the work. So make a pact with yourself today. Treat your body as the most important project you will ever undertake. Wake before the week. Train when you don't feel like it, especially when you don't feel like it. Eat for power, sleep for recovery, and never again insult the machine that carries your soul through this world. Forge it slowly, relentlessly, into something that commands respect without a single word. Build the body, and you build the platform everything else stands on. In the comments, stamp it once more. I am building a self they cannot break. Number 5. Engineer your habits. Engineer your fate. Here is the secret that separates the men who rise from the men who merely dream. You do not become great through grand moments. You become great through invisible ones, through the small, unglamorous, repeated actions that no one sees and no one applauds. Motivation is a liar. It shows up loud, makes promises, then vanishes the moment things get hard. But habits don't need motivation. Habits run in the dark. Habits work when you're tired, uninspired, and alone. And that is exactly why they are the true architects of every empire ever built. Understand the mechanics coldly. You are not what you occasionally do. You are what you repeatedly do. The man who reads one book is forgotten. The man who reads every single day becomes a force. The body sculpted in one workout is a fantasy. The body forged through 1,000 quiet sessions is a fact. Greatness is not an event. It is an accumulation. It is compound interest paid in discipline, and it is brutally fair. It gives nothing to the inconsistent and everything to the relentless. So stop waiting to feel ready. Readiness is a feeling, and feelings are weather. They change with the wind. Build systems instead. Design your days so that strength becomes automatic and weakness becomes difficult. The disciplined man doesn't rely on willpower in the moment because he knows willpower is a limited fuel that runs dry. Instead, he engineers his environment so the right action is the easy action. He removes the temptation before it can whisper. He prepares the night before so the morning has no excuses. He makes success the path of least resistance. This is the cold genius of habit design. You win the war before the battle even begins. Look closely at your current life, because your life right now is simply the sum of your habits made visible. Every result you have is the honest receipt of what you've repeatedly done. If you don't like the receipt, you must change the spending. There is no other way. You cannot think your way into a new life while practicing the old one. You must act differently again and again until the new behavior becomes the new identity. And that is the deepest truth of all. Habits are not just things you do, they are votes for the kind of man you are becoming. Each disciplined choice is a ballot cast for your future self. Skip the workout and you vote for weakness. Finish it and you vote for strength. Master your morning and you vote for control. Waste it and you vote for chaos. Over time, the votes are counted, and the man with the most disciplined ballots wins a life the lazy can only envy. Start small, but start sacred. Choose one habit and guard it like a vow, then another, then another. Stack them slowly, brick by brick, until your days become a fortress of routine that no bad mood can breach. The undisciplined drift through life, reacting to whatever lands in front of them. You will move through life on rails you laid yourself, headed toward a destination you chose on purpose. And one day, you'll look up and realize you've become someone you used to only admire from a distance. Not through luck, not through some sudden transformation, but through the quiet, relentless repetition of doing what had to be done. That is how fate is engineered. Not in the stars, but in the schedule. Not in the dream, but in the discipline. In the comments, anchor it again. I am building a self they cannot break. Number 6. Become unreadable, become untouchable. Now we descend into colder territory, into the psychology of power that most men are too soft to study. Listen carefully, because what I'm about to teach you will change how you move through every room for the rest of your life. The world is not a fair arena where the kindest man wins. It is a chessboard, and most people are pawns who never realize the game is even being played. They reveal everything, their fears, their plans, their wounds, their wants. And then they wonder why they're so easily used, so easily moved, so easily discarded. You will not be a pawn. You will become unreadable, and the unreadable man is untouchable. Begin with the discipline of silence. Most men talk too much. They spill their ambitions to people who will only envy them. They announce their next move before they've made it, handing rivals the time to prepare. They confess their insecurities to anyone who will listen, then act surprised when those weaknesses are used against them. Learn instead to let your actions speak and your mouth stay shut. The man who says little but does much becomes a mystery, and mystery is a kind of armor. People cannot exploit what they cannot see. They cannot predict a man who reveals nothing, and what cannot be predicted cannot be controlled. Master your reactions, because your reactions are the doors through which others enter and manipulate you. When someone insults you and you explode, you've just handed them the keys to your emotions. Now they know exactly which button to press whenever they want to move you. But when you receive the insult with cold, unbothered calm, you rob them of their power entirely. They learn there is no handle on you, no lever to pull, no crack to slip a knife into. The composed man terrifies the manipulative one, because manipulation requires emotional leverage, and you've given him none. Let your stillness be your statement. Understand the deep law of human nature. People respect what they cannot easily access. The man who is available at all times, who answers every message instantly, who bends to every request, who seeks everyone's approval, that man is valued cheaply because cheap things are abundant. But the man who guards his time, his energy, and his presence becomes scarce, and scarcity creates value. Do not chase. Do not beg for attention or approval. Withdraw slightly and watch how the world leans in to find you. This is not coldness for its own sake. It is the simple economics of respect. Cultivate an air of calm self-possession so complete that others begin to wonder what you know that they don't. Walk slower. Speak lower. Pause before you respond, as if every word is being weighed, and most are found unworthy of your breath. Let others fill the silence with their nervous chatter while you observe, calculate, and reveal nothing. In a world of noise, the quiet man seems to possess a depth that the loud cannot fathom, and people are drawn to depth like moths to a flame they cannot understand. And here is the masterstroke: study others while remaining a riddle yourself. Most people are so consumed with being seen that they never learn to see. But you will watch. You'll notice what makes a man flinch, what makes his eyes light up, what he avoids, what he craves. You'll read the room while the room fails to read you. This asymmetry of information is power in its purest form. You'll understand them completely while they understand nothing of you. Information flows one way, and the one who receives it always rules the one who gives it. Do not mistake this for cruelty. This is not about deceiving the innocent or harming the good. It is about refusing to be a victim in a world full of predators. It is about protecting your peace, your plans, and your power from those who would take them if you left them exposed. The naive man calls this paranoia. The wise man calls it survival. Become the calm at the center of every storm, observant, composed, and impossible to read. In the comments, etch it again. I am building a self they cannot break. Number 7. Let them underestimate you. There is a weapon so powerful that the strongest men in history wielded it deliberately, and yet the modern man, desperate to be seen, throws it away every single day. That weapon is being underestimated. Swallow your ego long enough to understand this, because it cuts against everything your pride is screaming. You want to be admired. You want recognition. You want the world to know how capable you are. But the man who broadcasts his strength invites resistance, attracts rivals, and warns his enemies. The man who conceals it walks freely while everyone sleeps on him, and then strikes when no one is prepared. Most people cannot stand to be doubted. The moment someone underestimates them, they rush to prove themselves, spilling all their cards onto the table just to win a moment of recognition that means nothing. This is the behavior of the insecure, and insecurity is a leash the clever will always use to drag you exactly where they want you. But the self-mastered man feels no such itch. Let them doubt. Let them dismiss you. Let them laugh. Every person who underestimates you is a person who has lowered their guard, and a lowered guard is an open door. While they relax, you build. While they dismiss you, you sharpen. And by the time they realize what you truly are, it is far too late to stop you. Understand the psychology at work. When people believe you are no threat, they reveal themselves freely around you. They speak carelessly. They show their true intentions. They make their moves without caution because they don't see you as a player worth guarding against. This is a gift. They are handing you intelligence for free simply because their arrogance blinds them to your potential. Take it. Absorb everything. Say little. Learn much. And let their contempt become your advantage. The loud man tells the world he is coming. The dangerous man arrives unannounced. There is also a quiet dignity in this restraint that the impatient will never know. It takes a strong man to be powerful and not flaunt it, to be capable and not perform, to hold his tongue when his ego demands he speak. The weak must be seen. Their fragile sense of self depends on constant validation. But you will draw your sense of worth from within, from the private knowledge of your own work and your own progress. You won't need the applause because you'll have something far more valuable: certainty. And the man who is certain of himself has no need to convince anyone. Watch how this transforms your power in every negotiation, every conflict, every relationship. When others don't know the full extent of your capability, you hold a reserve they cannot account for. You become unpredictable in the best way, always holding something back, always one move deeper than they assumed. They plan against the man they think you are, never the man you actually are. And that gap between perception and reality is where you win. Keep that gap wide. Feed their assumptions. Let the mask of the ordinary man hide the machinery of an extraordinary one. But hear this clearly, because it matters. Being underestimated is a strategy, not an identity. You are not pretending to be weak because you believe you are weak. You are choosing silence while you grow strong in private, building relentlessly behind a curtain the world hasn't bothered to look behind. The work is real, the discipline is real, the transformation is real. The only thing hidden is the scale of it, and when the moment comes to reveal what you've become, you won't need to announce it. Your results will speak in a language no one can argue with. The most satisfying power is the kind that arrives quietly and lands like thunder. The rise that no one saw coming, executed by a man everyone wrote off. Let them keep their assumptions. You'll keep your edge. While they perform for attention, you'll prepare in shadow, and the patient predator always eats better than the loud one. Become comfortable being underestimated, and you become impossible to stop. In the comments, declare it once more. I am building a self they cannot break. Number 8. Cut the dead weight without mercy. Now we confront a truth that will cost you relationships, and that is exactly why most men never face it. You cannot rise while chained to people who are committed to staying down. You cannot become exceptional surrounded by those who resent excellence. The hard, unspoken law is this: you become the average of the company you keep, and most men are quietly drowning in the dead weight of people they're too sentimental to release. Look honestly at the people around you. Some lift you, sharpen you, push you toward the man you're trying to become. But others, and you already know who they are, do the opposite. They mock your ambition. They guilt you for changing. They pull you back toward the comfortable mediocrity they've made peace with, because your growth is a mirror that shows them their own surrender. These people are not always your enemies. Sometimes they're your friends. Sometimes they share your blood. And that is precisely what makes them so dangerous, because affection blinds you to the slow poison of their influence. Understand the cold mechanics of it. Energy is contagious. Standards are contagious. Spend your days with men who settle, and settling will feel normal. Spend them with men who complain, and complaint becomes your native language. Surround yourself with the unambitious, and your own fire dims to match theirs, not because you chose it, but because the human animal unconsciously conforms to its tribe. You are always being shaped by the people you tolerate. The only question is whether they're shaping you upward or dragging you down. So you must learn to cut without cruelty, but without hesitation. This does not mean you announce your departures or burn bridges in dramatic flames. That's the behavior of the emotional, and you are above it. It means you quietly reallocate your most precious resources, your time, your attention, your energy. You stop feeding relationships that starve you. You let distance do the work that confrontation cannot. Some people you release with a clean break. Others simply fade as you stop watering what was never meant to grow. Guard your inner circle like a king guards his council, because the men closest to you have the most power to shape your fate. There is a deeper layer here that the soft-hearted miss. Loyalty is a virtue, but misplaced loyalty is a chain. You owe people honesty, decency, and the respect of having known them. But you do not owe them your future. You do not owe them the right to hold you back simply because they were present in your past. Sentimentality has buried more potential than failure ever has. The graveyard of unrealized men is full of people who stayed loyal to a version of life they had long outgrown, too afraid of guilt to walk away from what was killing them slowly. And here is the part that stings the most. Sometimes the dead weight isn't other people. Sometimes it's the old version of you that those people keep alive. They knew you when you were weak, and they expect you to stay that way. They preferred the man who laughed at his own potential, the man who drank away his ambitions, the man who never made them feel left behind. To grow, you may have to disappoint the people who only loved the lesser you. Let them be disappointed. Their comfort is not worth your destiny. Choose your circle with the cold precision of a strategist, not the loose sentimentality of a man afraid to be alone. Seek out those who are climbing, who challenge you, who make your standards rise just by being near them. Be willing to walk alone for a season rather than walk in the wrong direction with a crowd. Solitude is not punishment. It is the price of refinement. And the man who can be alone without loneliness is a man no one can manipulate through fear of abandonment. The world will call you cold for this. Let them. The truth is, you're simply refusing to let other people's limitations become your prison. Cut the dead weight, and you'll be amazed how high you rise once you stop carrying what was never yours to carry. In the comments, carve it again. I am building a self they cannot break. Number 9. Master time or be enslaved by it. Now we arrive at the one resource that no amount of power, money, or willpower can ever replace: time. Every other thing you lose, you can rebuild. Lose your money, you can earn it back. Lose your reputation, you can restore it. Lose your strength, you can train it again. But time spent is gone forever, and yet it is the one asset men squander as if they have an infinite supply. Understand this with brutal clarity. Your life is not measured in years, but in how you spend the hours inside them. And most men spend them asleep while awake. Look at how the masses live. They kill time as if it were their enemy, scrolling through endless feeds, drowning in entertainment designed to consume their attention and give nothing back. They wait for the weekend, then waste it. They wish their workdays away, trading the only currency they can never recover for a paycheck they barely notice. They live on autopilot, reacting to whatever lands in front of them, and then they wonder, decades later, where their lives went. They went exactly where they were spent, into distraction, into comfort, into the slow theft of unconscious living. You will treat your time differently because you understand its true nature. Time is not something that happens to you. It is the raw material from which you build everything you will ever become. Every hour is a block of marble, and you are the sculptor. Waste it, and you carve nothing. Invest it, and you carve a masterpiece. The disciplined man becomes ruthless about where his hours go because he knows that how he spends his days is, in the end, how he spends his life. There is no separating the two. Begin by guarding your time the way the wealthy guard their fortunes, with vigilance and without apology. Learn to say no, and say it often, because every yes to something trivial is a no to something that matters. The people who waste your time are not always malicious, but they are dangerous all the same. The endless meetings, the pointless conversations, the obligations born of guilt rather than purpose. These are leaks in the hull of your ship, and 1,000 small leaks will sink you just as surely as one great storm. Plug them ruthlessly. Protect your hours as if your destiny depends on them, because it does. Master the art of the deep, focused effort that the distracted will never know. While the world fragments its attention into 1,000 shallow pieces, you will train yourself to go deep, to work on what matters with total concentration, undisturbed by the noise that enslaves everyone else. 1 hour of deep, deliberate work outweighs 10 hours of scattered, interrupted busyness. The man who can focus completely in an age of distraction holds a superpower the masses have traded away for cheap dopamine. This focus alone will set you apart from 99 men out of 100. But there is a deeper wisdom here than mere productivity. Mastering time is not about cramming every second with frantic activity. That is just another form of slavery, the slavery of the anxious. True mastery is intentionality. It is knowing the difference between what is urgent and what is important, and refusing to let the urgent devour the important. It is having the discipline to rest deliberately, to think deeply, to invest in the things that compound, your mind, your body, your skills, your relationships that matter, rather than the things that merely entertain. The strategic man plays the long game while the impulsive man chases the moment and understands the final sobering truth. The clock is always running, and it does not care about your intentions. Tomorrow is a promise the universe never made to you. The man who says he'll start later has already lost, because later is the comfortable lie that steals entire lives one postponed day at a time. The only moment you will ever control is this one, right now. Seize it, build with it, refuse to let another irreplaceable hour slip through your fingers unused. Master your time, and you master your fate. Waste it, and you forfeit both. In the comments, stamp it once more. I am building a self they cannot break. Number 10. Become the man they cannot ignore. So here we stand, at the end of the path and the beginning of everything. You've heard it all now. The war on comfort, the mastery of the mind, the forging of the body, the engineering of habits, the cold psychology of power, the discipline to be underestimated, the courage to cut dead weight, the command of time itself. But none of it means anything if it stays as words you nodded along to. Knowledge that doesn't become action is just sophisticated entertainment. The graveyard of greatness is full of men who knew exactly what to do and never did it. Do not be one of them. Understand the truth that ties everything together. Self-mastery is not a destination you arrive at. It is a war you choose to wage every single day for the rest of your life. There is no finish line where you finally relax and the work is done. The moment you stop building, you begin decaying, because there is no standing still. You are either sharpening or dulling, rising or sinking, becoming more or becoming less. Make peace with that, and the daily discipline stops feeling like a burden and starts feeling like who you are. This is what it means to become addicted to self-mastery, not motivation that fades, but identity that endures. And here is the transformation that awaits the man who commits. You will become untouchable, not because the world stops throwing storms at you, but because you've built something inside yourself that storms cannot reach. You'll stop seeking permission. You'll stop fearing judgment. You'll stop waiting to be chosen, because you'll have chosen yourself. While other men are blown around by every emotion, every insult, every temptation, you'll stand rooted in something deeper, the quiet, unshakable certainty of a man who knows he can rely on himself completely. That is real power, not power over others, but the kind no one can ever take from you. Power over yourself. People will feel the difference before they understand it. They'll sense the calm in you that they lack. They'll notice you don't flinch, don't chase, don't beg, don't break. They'll respect you without knowing why, and the ones who once dismissed you will quietly begin to wonder how they missed it. You will have become the man they cannot ignore, not through noise, but through the undeniable gravity of someone who has mastered himself. That is the rarest presence in the world, and it cannot be faked, only forged. So this is my final charge to you. Close this video and do not let it become just another thing you watched and forgot. Take one action today, one, then another tomorrow. Build the man brick by brick, day by day, choice by choice, until the person you're becoming makes your old self unrecognizable. The world doesn't need another man who knows better. It needs you to become living proof of everything you just heard. The future you've been imagining is built in the unglamorous present, by the version of you willing to do what the comfortable never will. Now go and become undeniable. In the comments, declare it one final time and mean it with everything you have. I am building a self they cannot break. And if this spoke to something real in you, if you felt the fire even for a second, do this. Hit that like button to feed the message. Subscribe to Machiavellian Mind so the next lesson finds you. And turn on notifications, because the work doesn't stop here, and neither should you. Master yourself. Become untouchable. I'll see you in the next one.